All right, guys, I have been wanting to make this video for a while now because ever since I made the video about Jim's collection and talked about kind of the story behind Jim, the outpouring of love from the vinyl community has been extremely beautiful to witness. So many kind emails, so many people from Jim's life saw this video and reached out to me with stories about him. It has been such a treat to learn more about him from those that were close to him at one point in his life, and the TMR community has been so kind as well. So ever since then, the store has been full of people that have loved to kind of hear the story and get excited to go to Jim's bin and dig around and take things home for their collection from Jim's collection. And I know Jim's watching this from somewhere right now, stoked to see some of these incredible records be rehomed into the hands of true fans. Now, I've also received a lot of messages of people telling me, you gotta take some for yourself. They say Jim would have wanted it. And you know what? I think that's probably the case. Jim and I used to talk music all the time. We have very similar taste in music. And I told myself I would be honored to take some of the collection home with me. And as we've been going through it for the past few weeks, I have taken a few things aside, listened to them in store, decided, do I really want this? And I've narrowed it down to a box and a slight overflow from the box of stuff that I will be taking home from Jim's collection. Now, just a single box out of 4,000 records, I'm pretty proud of my restraint. There's so many good things that I had to sell just because obviously I'm a business, but there are some things that I wanted to take. Not all of this is extremely rare. Some of it is just stuff that I wanted to have because I never picked it up for one reason or another. Some of it is very rare and I just didn't really want to pay the price it's going for. And we're going to go through it right now and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I picked everything. If this is your first time on the channel or you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button. I have a lot of great videos coming out. I own a record store here in Portland, Oregon. If you're new here, my name is Matt. Let me show you the records I have added to my collection from the amazing collection we just picked up. First off, an analog spark pressing of the Cranberries. Everybody else is doing it, so why can't we? One of my favorite debut records ever, just incredibly dreamy pop. And if you don't know the Cranberries, you obviously know two songs, Linger and Dreams, which are both on here. Zombie was on their follow-up, but this album front to back is a heater. Every single song on here is a masterpiece, and I own the black analog spark pressing of this, which is an audiophile from the tapes, one of my best sounding records in my collection. This is the limited version that came out on cranberry colored vinyl. And it was a Barnes & Noble exclusive, and I remember when it came out, I didn't get it. And for some reason, I thought it wasn't gonna be the same as the black pressing, but it turns out exactly the same mastering, same plates, and I regretted not picking this up because how could you not have this record on cranberry colored vinyl when it's the Cranberries? So I am now going to be upgrading my copy to the Cranberry, and the black one will at some point find its way into the store. First press of Red Hot Chili Peppers, By the Way, and this pressing, the first press, was cut by Kevin Gray. If you don't know Kevin Gray, basically a vinyl mastermind. Every record he is involved with sounds phenomenal. He's a name that you always want to see, along with like Chris Bellman and Bernie Grundman. These are names that instill confidence, and I have a repress of this, but I don't have the Kevin Gray version, so I decided to swap mine out for this one. My favorite Chili Peppers record. I don't know too much about the Isley Brothers, but I listened to this record and it was just phenomenal. Really funky, really good music. This is 3+3. It's limited to 1,500 copies on crystal clear vinyl. I really am starting to get more into soul and funk and all of these kind of genres that I only had a very cursory knowledge of for a while. The store is really helping me expand on those, and this is a really good sounding pressing, so I'm stoked to have this. How about this one? Rihanna, Auntie. Of course, I knew a handful of the tracks from it, but I never really got into the full album until I saw it in the collection and I spun it, and every track is good. Some are much better than others, but this is a really solid pop record front to back. And I was sold by this jacket. It is a soft touch jacket with Braille on it, and it's also this massive trifold. It's just a beautifully done package, and I don't own any Rihanna records, and I think if I'm gonna own one, it's gonna be Auntie. Gutter Flower by the Goo Goo Dolls. I own Dizzy Up the Girl, which is I think their best record, but for some reason I didn't own Gutter Flower, and this is a really good record. It's on like this rust colored wax, and I spun it in the shop and I was like, man, I forgot how much I loved so many of these songs. So I decided to take this one home as well. So now I have this and Dizzy. We also had A Boy Named Goo in the collection, and I'm on the fence about keeping that. We'll see. The Best of Depeche Mode Volume 1. So Depeche Mode is another one of those bands that I've really enjoyed a lot of the singles over the years, but I've never really spent a lot of time with their discography outside of probably Violator, which is the only album I think I've heard front to back prior to this. This might be all I need. It is 3 discs of just amazing Depeche Mode selections. One that blew me away, it's on Exciter. That song is gorgeous, and I've never listened to Exciter, which is one of their later records. Blew me away, just so good. So I think this kind of takes a lot of the singles I love and a couple of the deeper cuts that I've never really heard of but enjoyed. And I love this packaging. It has this really nice kind of slip case with 3 discs on the inside. Yeah, for now, this will suffice. Saint Panther, These Days. This was a Vinyl Me Please rising artist, and I remember I was listening to it when it came out, and I was really excited to order it because it was a really good modern neo-soul album, and, well, it's more of an EP, it's only 6 tracks, but I remember it sold out before I had a chance to get it. So when I saw it in Jim's collection, I was like, all right, I got my redemption. And now we have a couple of Rage Against the Machine records, MOV pressing, so not colored ones, but this is the black MOV of the Battle of Los Angeles. I did not own any copy of this record, and I spun this, and it sounds terrific. There is some back and forth in the Discogs comments about if it's from the original tapes or not, if it's analog, whatever it may be. I don't really care. All I know is it sounds amazing. Again, I had to also get Renegades. I did not own this. It is an amazing album. Need I say more? So many great covers on here. And finally, the Vinyl Me Please exclusive of Evil Empire. Another album that I think I own a black copy of, but I can now upgrade to the really great orange. This also sounds amazing. This was a great job by Vinyl Me Please on this one. Cosmic Thing by B-52s. If this had Rock Lobster on it, it would be perfect, but unfortunately that is on their first album. This is my favorite front-to-back B-52s record. If I'm going to own any of them, it's going to be Cosmic Thing, and it's the mobile Fidelity version, so it sounds excellent. I have such a soft spot for this record. This is the Outfield Play Deep. I have a beat-up 80s copy of this. You probably know them from Your Love, which is a big 80s single. If you don't know it, listen to it for like 6 seconds and you'll know it immediately. This is the MOV pressing, and it is on blue vinyl. So I thought that was kind of cool. I have a soft spot. I used to listen to this record all the time in high school, and it's cool to have the colored version of it. Is this a guilty pleasure? I don't know. It's hard to say. So this is Santana's Supernatural, best known for the absolute smash platinum hit Smooth by Santana featuring Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. This whole album is chock full of really good features, though. I mean, you get CeeLo and Lauryn Hill, Clapton, you get some Eagle Eye Cherry, some fun stuff on here, really good guitar work, really good blend of sounds, ranging from pretty authentic Latin sounds to more poppier stuff. That being said, I've never purchased this, but I've always wanted to own it, and now it's here. Sounds great, too. Saigon Kick, The Lizard. I held off buying this because I read a Discogs comment, and you know what? This is proof that you can't trust Discogs comments verbatim. There needs to be a trend of comments. It can't just be one person because they might be wrong, and in this case they were. They said this sounded terrible, and I listened to it. It is the limited version, which is on this incredible kind of like lizardy green marble wax. And Saigon Kick is an awesome kind of grungy alt-rock band from the early 90s, very reminiscent to Alice in Chains with kind of the dual harmonies and similar vibe. If you like Alice in Chains, I'd recommend this. And I spun this and it sounds fantastic. In fact, when I spun it in the store, I had like 4 different people being like, what is this? This is amazing. Definitely glad to own this. Was not going to pay for an original, but this will definitely suffice. Kaiser Chiefs Employment. This is one of the first ever indie records I got into back in high school. I remember loving all the singles from here, but I spun it in the store and I forgot how good the whole record is. And I actually don't remember this coming out on vinyl. I think I would have probably at least listened to it if I saw the pre-order come up, but I didn't realize it was on vinyl until I saw it in Jim's collection. I listened to it and I was like, yeah, coming home with me. Another Kevin Gray for you. This is the Black Sabbath Paranoid from Vinyl Me Please on purple marble. I have a beat up copy of this as well, but the Kevin Gray cut of this sounds phenomenal. Spun it in the store. We were just like, oh my God, it's so good. So really stoked to have this version. This happened, I think, right before I joined Vinyl Me Please. This is one of their earlier releases, and what a heavy hitter for them to have locked in, but I'm glad to have tracked one down. A couple best ofs coming your way. The best of Enya. I really like Enya, but I don't think I need an Enya album. I really just want the best of her. She's one of those artists that has some good albums front to back, but when I want to listen to Enya, I just want to kind of hear the hits and maybe some of the cream of the crop from her other records. So the best of Enya is something I've been looking for on a shelf for a while. I've never really stumbled across it till Jim. Next one I was super stoked we had. This is Poison's greatest hits. Again, if I want to listen to Poison, I most likely just want to hear the hits, which A and B on this is basically all the hits, and then C and D is some other tracks that I'm not as familiar with, but are still pretty good. Poison is an underrated band in the hair metal scene, in my opinion. They're better than people think they are. I just love the variants on this. You got this kind of like really cool green and this really nice neon yellow, matching the cover nicely. And this is super rare because only Walmart did a version of it back, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and it was an exclusive to them, and no one else got it. There was no standard black. No one else could get it but Walmart, and it's out of print. So every time I see it go for sale, it's at least 80 bucks, sometimes in the triple digits. So stoked to finally have it. Maxwell, talking about some classic R&B. This is his debut, Urban Hang Suite. Really, really good. Everyone knows his record Now. That was kind of like his big one. But this record, I think, is even better. This is just such a laid-back groove, such good, funky R&B action. I really like this record, and I was stoked to see it. This is another kind of greatest hits comp that I don't think I would have taken if it wasn't for how cool the variant is. So this is Vinyl Me Please's version of Funkadelic Finest. And it's just a bunch of different tracks from Funkadelic's career. I've been really trying to track down Funkadelic early pressings, and I've done a pretty good job of getting some of them. Maggot Brain still eludes me. But look at this variant. Come on. How cool is this? This it doesn't even do it justice on camera as I'm looking at it. This is so unbelievably beautiful, and just the variant alone, I had to take it home. I don't know if this is a permanent fixture in my collection, but for now, I wanted to have it. This next one was actually a grail for me, which is crazy. The Cranberries, Something Else. So this was the acoustic record that they put out with a whole bunch of the band's hits. Awesome compilation of tracks done acoustically. I mean, really lets Dolores's voice shine. And this is very out of print. It's been out of print for a long time. I've had it on my want list on Discogs, and it very rarely pops up. So when I saw it in Jim's collection, I actually gasped because I was like, this is something I've been looking for. So this was the first thing I knew for sure I was taking. This is another regret from a record store day of the past that I did not grab, which is the Sundays Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic. This is an excellent kind of borderline shoegazy dream pop band. All their stuff is pretty hard to find these days, original presses or represses. This is a repress. And I just remember seeing this in the collection and be like, I think this is another one I have to take home. And it's because it's just so damn good. If you've heard this album, you know what I'm talking about. This is another great record, Isley Brothers, Go For Your Guns. Another Isley thing I wasn't super familiar with, but I listened to it right after the other one, and I was like, man, these are both so good. I gotta take both of them. Vinyl Me Please did this for their Classics track. Just so good. This one's a bit of a roller coaster. So this is Simple Plans, no pads, no helmets, just balls. I had a copy of this and I sold it maybe 6 months ago because I said to myself, it's gonna get a repress at some point. It has to. And then I saw this in the collection and I really regretted selling my copy because I was like, maybe it's never gonna get a repress. So I added it to my box, and then days after I added it to my box, they announced the repress of it. So now I have this one, which is not gonna be worth what it was. So I'm just gonna probably end up keeping this one instead of getting the repress because I like the red. Reminds me of Dodgeball, which is kind of, I think, an allusion to the title. So awesome pop punk. This is the Friday music pressing of Boston's self-titled. Again, one of the best debuts of all time. Every single song is amazing rock and roll. And this is supposedly one of the best sounding, if not the best sounding pressing of this record. Even put up against the MoFi and the original press. People say that this Friday music pressing sonically is in a league of its own, and it's not that expensive. So I listened to it, and it really does sound amazing. I mean, I have an original press. It's probably strong VG+, but I think I just want this one. It really sounds that good. So if you're on the fence about the Friday music pressing, just get this. At one point, I did want the MoFi, as you guys saw in an earlier video, but I think my quest for that is done. It can't really get much better than this. Ghost is a band that I'm getting into recently. Not as heavy as I ever thought they were based on the art. This is a lot poppier and kind of accessible hard rock, pop. It's hard to really put them in a box musically what they are. I guess people call them pop metal, but this is Impera, their last record, and it's really, really good. I think I like Meliora a little better. It has a little more edge to it, but this is the Target exclusive with Coral vinyl, and I listened to it and I really liked it front to back, so I think I'm gonna keep those two for my Ghost collection. Call it for now. Shout out to Goose for recommending me these funky guys. Monophonics. There's 2 Monophonics records in here. We have Sage Motel and It's Only Us. He gave me another one of their records for a gift, and they're just a great band that completely passed me by. I never had really heard of them, but if you like funk, kind of like neo-funk kind of stuff, Monophonics are awesome. I had this on my want list on Discogs and then just appeared in Jim's collection. This is Avenged Sevenfold's self-titled record, another band that I've gotten into kind of recently, and this is the Red and Black Splatter variant. I gave it a listen in the store. It's not quite as good to me as City of Evil, but it is really close. excellent songs, some of them heavier, some of them poppier, but this is a killer record. And I've held off picking up Future Nostalgia, Dua Lipa, for a while, and this is the pink vinyl version, which is kind of the version I wanted based on the album cover and just the vibe of the music. So was really excited to see this in there. Amazing pop record. This is a pop record that, much like Carly Rae Jepsen, Emotion, kind of is a league above a lot of the stuff you would hear on the radio. It kind of like transcends that generic level of pop and becomes something extremely memorable front to back. And this Future Nostalgia is absolutely one of those records. This one's kind of weird. This is Rat Out of the Cellar, another Friday music pressing. And what's weird about this is that I went on Discogs and the only Friday music pressing of this is on orange vinyl. But when I went to go look at the disc of this, it is indeed a Friday music pressing, but it's on black vinyl. And there's no entry for a black vinyl variant. There's no past sales on eBay or PopPsych of a black vinyl variant. So I'm very confused as to why this is black when it's supposed to be orange. I don't know. It's a mystery. And I figured instead of trying to unravel the mystery, I just keep it because Rat's an awesome kind of hair metal band and I don't own anything by them. So if you're going to own one, this is probably the one that has some of their best songs like Round and Round. But yeah. I just figured I'd probably just keep it instead of trying to figure out what the heck happened. This is cool too. I remember when this came out for Record Store Day. This is Fleetwood Mac, The Alternate Rumors. It's basically different sketches of songs from Rumors, different versions, things that wouldn't have made it to the final album, but variations that are super intriguing on their own. Every song had its own flair. Some were a little more different than others, but it really is an interesting listen if you're super familiar with the album like I am. Hearing these versions, it's almost like kind of going into it for the first time again. It was very cool. Shout out to Vinyl Crush, aka Mark Wald, for recommending me this gem of an album. This is Donald Byrd's Ethiopian Nights. Donald Byrd has a lot of music, and some of it is not for me. I really like his funkier stuff, and this is one of the funkiest albums he's ever put out. After Mark's recommendation, I recently tracked down a 70s Blue Note, which I would say probably fluctuates between VG and VG Plus sonically. There's a little crackle. Sounds really nice. But this repress from a few years back sounds amazing. So I might just keep this one and then not have my Blue Note. I don't know. I'm still debating, but I think I'm going to take this one home. It sounds amazing. If you don't know Donald Byrd, Ethiopian Nights is a great place to start. I also didn't really own much Al Green, and Call Me is maybe his best record front to back from all the ones that I've heard. So good. I mean, this is cut by Ryan Smith, another great name to read at Sterling Sound, and it is from the original analog tapes. So this sounds amazing. Another one that Vinyl Me Please knocked it out of the park with, and I decided to take home. You guys know I love Eva Cassidy. This is Live at Blues Alley, which I think has overlap with the 4-disc Nightbird album that I have of her. I'm not sure if there's anything on here that's specific to here, but I gotta look into it. If all of this is on Nightbird, I might just keep Nightbird, but this is an amazing pressing. It sounds incredible, and I had to take it when I listened to it. But if I have the material already, I might just end up keeping that, so TBD. One of the best vocalists ever. Portishead Dummy. The only Portishead I owned up until now was the live show at Roseland, which, amazing pressing, amazing live show, just such a good set with the orchestra behind it. It sounds crazy. But if I'm gonna have one Portishead record in my collection, it's gonna be Dummy. This is their best record in my opinion, and I've been looking for a copy for a while, not super actively because it's not crazy hard to find, but yeah, I decided to take this one home. Finally, one of the heaviest hitters in the whole box is a record I used to own. When it came out, I bought it and I sold it for way less than it goes for now, and I regretted selling it because I never really spent enough time with it to justify keeping it, but I have since then, and I think that I made a mistake. We're ending on a little Frank Ocean, folks. This is Frank Ocean's Endless, which is known as the album that he put out right before Blonde to get out of his contract before he dropped Blonde on his own label. A genius move that shook the entire industry to the core, and a lot of people say this is a throwaway album. I wholeheartedly disagree. Frank has some incredibly beautiful tracks on here, and if you have never listened to this, but you love Channel Orange and you love Blonde, you should immediately remedy that. Love the packaging on this. Such a beautiful job with all of this foiling. I saw this, and this is probably the rarest record of this box that I was like, I just have to have this. I regretted getting rid of it, and then, like a boomerang eventually came back to me. So those are my picks from Jim's bin. I would love to hear, what you think of any or all of these picks. And B, if you've been in the store in the past couple weeks and you've picked up a record from Jim's collection, leave a comment with what it is. I'd love for more people to see some of the cool stuff that has been disseminated from Jim's amazing collection. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really liked making this one. There's going to be a lot more coming soon, so I appreciate all your support as we're getting close to the 1 year of the store. So I will talk to y'all soon. Take it easy.